What's up, boxing fans? It's time to make my prediction and break down my reasoning for what at first seemed like a nearly impossible pick to make. But after a bit of research and a film study, I have seen a couple things, and now I think I have a good idea of how these styles are going to mesh and who I believe will come out on top. Now, I did a poll in my boxing group on Facebook, which you should join, Boxing Fans of the World, and the fans had this fight as pretty much 50-50. It's a hard pick, but I do believe I've got the right guy picked for this one. I'll break down why. So, alright, let's get into the tail of the tape. Andre Ward is 6 foot tall exactly, with a 71-inch reach, and he's 29-0 with 15 knockouts, which gives him a 52% KO ratio. Sergey Kovalev is also 6 feet tall with a 72.5-inch reach, so he's got the advantage by 1.5 inches. So they're basically the same size. Kovalev's got 30 wins, 26 coming by way of KO, and 1 draw. So he's got an 84% KO ratio, and I watched the fight where he had a draw, and it was bullshit. He knocked that guy out, and the ref, he blew it, and that was a robbery. Kovalev won that fight. As for the styles, what we have here is a boxer-puncher, mid-range fighter, similar to Gennady Golovkin, Karl Froch, Vitaly Klitschko, and Dmitry Pirov, versus a guy who is a bit like Floyd Mayweather and Bernard Hopkins, slick-type fighter. He can do it all, really. Now, let's look at the big wins both guys have, and, see what wins they've acquired over the years. Well, Andre Ward got a gold medal in the Olympics with big wins over Miguel Kessler, Sakio Bika, Arthur Abraham, Karl Froch, Chad Dawson, Edwin Rodriguez, and the prospect Sullivan Barrera at light heavyweight. He's only 2 fights deep into his light heavyweight career. By the time he fights Kovalev, he'll be 3 fights deep. Sergey Kovalev has Nathan Cleverly, Jean-Pascal Twice, Bernard Hopkins, and Isaac Chilemba, all at light heavyweight. Now, usually I break down both of their last 2 fights, play for play, and draw this out a lot longer. I don't think I'm going to do that this time. This time, I'm just going to show you my reasoning for my pick. I'm picking Andre Ward for a multitude of reasons. The first reason is this. Sergey Kovalev is a mid-range fighter. He tries to keep you at an arm's length. He uses a jab to the head and to the body to set up straight rights and left hooks. He's pretty good at cutting off the ring, but that's his style of fighting. He's just not as versatile as Andre Ward. Andre Ward can fight on the inside and the outside. And I've seen Kovalev look vulnerable at times. He got caught standing up straight by Pascal multiple times. And sometimes he loses his footing and gets too obsessed with hurting his opponent. He was dropped a few fights back, I can't remember by who, by a jab because he squared up his feet too much. Ward would not get caught like that. Andre Ward also gets off first against pretty much everyone. I don't think I've ever seen him not get off first when he wants to. He doubles and triples his jab, and a lot of guys can't do that. Nobody I've ever seen Kovalev fight can do that. He jabs to the body and to the head, just like Kovalev, but I feel like he times it better. And he makes himself a really small and hard-to-hit target. He fights kind of in a crouching style sometimes. He's just really hard to tag, and he moves down to his right away from shots like Floyd Mayweather. I think he's just going to be too elusive for Kovalev, in my opinion. Also, Kovalev didn't look good in his last fight either. He was expected to stop Chilemba, and honestly, I thought he might not stop Chilemba, but I thought he'd dominate him a little bit better. Chilemba hadn't ever been stopped, so I wasn't really shocked that Kovalev didn't put him away. Plus, you know, he did knock him down, but he couldn't close the show. Also, the bigger thing for me is he didn't stop Bernard Hopkins, who is at the end of his career and way past his prime. But, yeah, back to the Chilemba fight. Kovalev was hit far too frequently by the jab of Chilemba, and Chilemba is no Ward. He doesn't double and triple the jab like Ward, and he doesn't time it as well as Ward. He was just taking far too many jabs from Chilemba and looking far too frustrated against Chilemba for me to think that he can beat Andre Ward. Another thing, and possibly the biggest thing about Kovalev right now, is that John David Jackson said that Kovalev is letting his head swell too much and taking himself too seriously. Jackson said that Kovalev would not listen to him during camp and said that, quote, "I want to do things my way." And that's not a good sign. Also, here's the main reason I pick Ward by unanimous decision. The guys I have seen Ward handle, and the style that they possessed. He beat Kessler, Froch, and Abraham, who were all guys who fight similar to Kovalev. Some more than others. More or less. But I do think that, I do think Kovalev is more talented than all of these guys I just named. But at the same time, he's more talented offensively, but at the same time, he still makes the same mistakes defensively as a lot of these guys I just mentioned with that style. And Ward has seen this style before, kind of, I don't want to say this because, not all European fighters fight the same, but he's got the stereotypical European style, man. Straight up. He keeps his right hand up by his chin, and he keeps his left hand really low, and he keeps his head straight up stiff. A lot of these guys get tagged for that eventually, and they're just too easy to hit. They eat jabs. So yeah, I've seen Ward handle this style before, and I have faith in him being able to take Kovalev the distance and win a unanimous decision. So let's recap. I'm picking Ward by unanimous decision for his ability to fight on the inside and the outside, his ability to either counter or get off first, who Ward has beaten, and the style of some of the men that he's beaten. Kovalev not being able to stop Hopkins or Chilemba, and Chilemba's ability to constantly tag Kovalev with jabs to the head and to the body. Even his left hook landed a bit, and Ward has a much better left hook than Chilemba. Also, John David Jackson saying that Kovalev is being hard-headed, not listening to him, and not training right. All the while, Andre Ward has been. You can see footage of Andre Ward training on Boxing Ego's YouTube channel. I suggest you check that one out. And you can hear the John David Jackson interview on the Boxing Voice on their YouTube channel. Just look for their post-Kovalev Isaac Chilemba podcast. So basically, Ward by decision. Thank you for watching, boxing fans. Please like my video, subscribe, and join us on Facebook at Boxing Fans of the World. And drop some comments in the comments section. Tell me your predictions and why you think a certain, who you think's going to win and why. All right.
Back to your seat, 'cause I don't like you. Spawn, tell me a joke. Hey, yo, Spawn, what are you doing? I sever heads just to sharpen my skills. Zoom in on break like a John